How's everyone? Great to have you join us. For those I haven't met yet, my name is Dinesh De Silva. I'm the founder and CEO of netStripes. Big welcome to our first webinar for 2024. With me today is Rob Finlay, who is the... Hey, Rob, big welcome.
Hello, how you going?
Very good. Just introducing you. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob, for those who haven't met, because Rob has been at one of our webinars before, is the innovation leader and the customer experience leader for Amazon. As you know, Amazon, if you take the world's most innovative companies, Amazon would be, that'd be a handful of companies that are more innovative than Amazon or even close to Amazon. Okay, so in this world, and Amazon wasn't a business that was there 50 years ago. It's a new business that started in the mid-90s, started by one person with innovation at the forefront of the business. Today, it's a global business. So who better than the customer experience and innovation leader to speak to us today and share the trends, the digital trends for 2024. Big welcome, Rob. Great to have you join us today.
Thank you. It's great to be back in front of the netStripes community again, and really keen to share just some thoughts that hopefully will spur some conversations. So very happy to be here.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob and I were chatting about what people are going to discuss today. And I was sorry we didn't record that conversation because that conversation alone was so exciting. So a big welcome to everyone, especially for those members of the industry associations we are working with very closely. I know apart from those present here watching the webinar live, this webinar will be distributed to members of the Finance Brokers Association, the National Retail Association, and of course, the Master Locksmiths Association of Australia and New Zealand. And FBAA is the Finance Brokers Association of Australia and New Zealand now. I know FBAA has started an office in New Zealand as well as of this year, or probably end of last year. Now, a lot of you have been to our webinars before. A lot of you are netStripes customers for many years. But if you are new, big welcome to the netStripes community. Now, having said that, I'm going to get started because we have a lot to cover today. So I'm going to share my screen and get on with it. But what you're going to learn today are not just trends. You're going to learn about practical experiences, practical examples, how you can use these trends for your business so that you can stand apart from your competition, so that you can stand apart from the rest of your industry. And innovation allows that. But, we've heard about ChatGPT and artificial intelligence in 2023. But what has happened in this last week alone when it came to artificial intelligence, and some of the releases that happened are so exciting. And Rob is going to cover that. I'll touch on some of that. And what's really happening around the world, unknown to a lot of us, is going to have massive impact to all our lives, not just our businesses. Like when the mobile revolution happened many years ago, when the smartphones came into play, it changed the way the world operated. It changed the way we all do business. It changed the way consumers bought products and services. AI is going to have a bigger impact. And it's like the carpet is going to be pulled under our feet without us knowing if we are not prepared. And that's why we need to be prepared. So again, I'm going to, let me share the screen, get to the screen. Hands up, guys, if you can see my screen. I want this to be an interactive webinar. If you have any questions, go to the Q&A button there. Click on the Q&A and ask those questions. Rob and I will answer every one of them before we finish today. Okay. For those who came after I introduced myself. This is myself, Dinesh De Silva. Please connect with us on LinkedIn. It'll be great to put a face to your name and get to know you better. This is Rob. I've already introduced Rob. Again, Rob is on LinkedIn. Connect with Rob. I've asked permission. Is that okay if community connects with you, Rob? And Rob said yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love to.
Yes, and this is what we are going to cover. These are the three major areas that we're going to cover. Rob's going to really start off with that. I'm going to cover some of the research, the data, and give practical examples of how that relates to us and how it's relevant to us. And both of us will talk about how we apply this to our business to get results. netStripes is all about helping business owners to catch that digital wave. And it's not just digital now, it's about artificial intelligence as well. And all this combined is creating massive waves. And how do we catch that wave? And just to give a brief introduction of netStripes, we've created probably the most effective system for small to medium businesses to transition from your traditional ways of doing business into this more digitally artificial intelligence augmented world, so that your businesses can be a lot more successful in this new world of business. Our vision from the time we started 10 years ago now has been to empower million businesses. And I'm happy to say this vision is shared by multiple industry associations similar to the industry association or business chamber you could be from. And a big welcome to all of you. The system is industry agnostic, works with any industry, and all these businesses you see are just a sample of them from multiple industries, those who caught that digital wave. Having said that, Rob, I'm going to leave the floor with you. And ladies and gentlemen, please give Rob a huge welcome, and we can all clap. Can you hear the applause, Rob?
Yes. Yes, I can. Thank you so much. Look, I'll just take the screen over. Thank you very much for that introduction. Really appreciate it. And I just want to take you through, as you said, just some thoughts on the things that we're seeing here at AWS in particular and Amazon that we think we'd love you to think about, or that you may already know. And so I think we're all becoming very well aware now of all the opportunities and the technology that's around us. It's far more prevalent to find these things out. But I want to take you through a bit of some of my thoughts. Would love to connect with you all afterwards if you'd like some more information or just some more perspectives that we can help you with in your business. Certainly AWS and Amazon, we are really passionate about small business, about startups, as much as the big end of town. In fact, we're still probably more dedicated to that sector of startups and small business than anything before. So very, very happy to be here to help share some thoughts. The team I'm in is called Innovation Programs. As Dinesh said, I'm here to lead the innovation and customer experience development for mostly for our external customers. So we take the Amazon way of working, tell stories about that, and also use the same mechanisms that Amazon uses to help you create new ideas for your business. So really here to evangelize the way we work, but just more importantly, to help your business succeed. I'll come back to those images later on. So I've got here digital trends to watch in 2024. I think these are things that are almost hard to ignore. But also I've got here is things we see most of our customers building this year. So I wanted to connect this idea of these big broad trends with the things that we see our customers asking about and wanting to look more into and helping them build those things. So there's very much connection between these big, large global concepts to solving problems in your company and your business and your industry more broadly. So I wanted to make sure that connection was clear. And there are essentially four things I want to talk about. Now, I don't just put generative AI here because of the hype or because it's everywhere you see at the moment. It's an incredible cycle of development. As Dinesh said, the last week alone has been some pretty interesting things have been launched. It is going to be, and AI in general will be the most impactful technology potentially this decade and beyond. And we need to understand and get across that. I've got generative AI here as opposed to broader AI. We'll talk about that. The connection with that and what we call a bit of silly word, but phygital experiences. What does that mean? It means essentially this blend of digital and physical that we've talked about for a while, but has never been more apparent. And now with artificial intelligence, now there's very much a blurred line between this digital and physical experience. It's highly personalized. And again, we always wanted to have a personalized experience for our customers in the past, but now, again, it's more easy than ever. But also connected to that, this idea of how you transform your business, operations in particular. It could be process, it could be people, it could be technology, it could be something else. But this idea of transforming your business to be far more efficient, almost a massive leapfrog in efficiency and in productivity is possible. And we want to add to that this idea of sustainability. It's going to be something that we'll have to address. And then wrap all around that, obviously, we'll go through the data as well in the next section, but we are very conscious that everything starts with good data and the attached security of your technology and your data altogether. So these are the 4 areas I wanted to go through briefly and see what might you think about, what questions do you have, or what opinion do you have? And again, if you've got any questions that you want to ask either on the way or at the end, please just reach out and let me know. I can't see the chat, but verbally let me know. Okay, so let's start here. The rapid rise and frankly, the arrival of generative AI. It's not something that's coming forward. It's here now, and it's going to become something very prevalent. In the speed at which it's coming at us, it's a bit scary, but we think that it's actually a really exciting time for us to think about what the possibilities are. If you remember a year ago or so, maybe 2 years, artificial intelligence well, 20 years ago, AI was something we've always had for a long time in certain parts of our businesses. It was about doing very specific tasks like translating from one language to another, and Spanish to English, for example, or allocating, taking a data point and just doing one thing against it. Now all of a sudden it can do all kinds of things that it can actually work out on its own. And so the first iterations we saw were in very simple mediums like images. So the one on the left is obviously one of the older images of how it tried to render hands, for example, in the generative AI exercise. It still struggles with that, but it's actually getting better. But it was sort of a bit of a joke when it first came out that it couldn't do this very well. But again, this was only about 12 months ago. And the pace at which it's changing is really interesting. And now, of course, we can create not just images, but videos, music, all sorts of stories, creative content. But even beyond that, again, which we'll go through with some examples, is it can now create all kinds of solutions. You can create all sorts of scenarios. It can help you plan, and it can help you predict the future in a way based on the data points you have. So take that image on the left, put it in your mind, as scary as it looks, and then contrast it with this next video it's going to play. Essentially, it's got a bit of background sound effects here, so bear with me if you can see it. This is all generated with the same kind of technology, right? This is essentially a set of digital content created through text-based prompts that a generative AI engine has developed with pretty much seamless ease and very, very fast pace. And so, again, a year ago, this would not have been possible. And there are still some glitches here and there. But you can see the level of accuracy that's been achieved in such a short time. To the point where, to the untrained eye, if you didn't know it was potentially generative AI except for flying sharks, but you wouldn't actually know this was something that was being computer generated, not just from source images and source material, but had actually generated this idea through its own understanding of what the world is like. And even the sound effects that were done on this video by a separate company are actually generated the same way, because of course there's no sound in these videos to start with. So the whole world of what images and video and communication now looks like is transforming pretty quickly. The implications here are both exciting, right? You can now create amazing images. You can imagine all of these clips might add together to make a movie. We can now make a creative campaign that's very much about fast experimentation and rapid pace on what works and what doesn't. We can create communication about how to inform our customers on a product or service, or to help them understand a difficult concept. Maybe it's about finance, or it's about their legal situation, or it's about their health and fitness, or their biometrics, for example. All these things can be fairly regenerated. But critically, what we sort of see as important is, beyond this creation of content, is the power of generative AI to automate things every day. Automating content generation is one of them, but there are lots of ways that we think that AI can help us. So certainly we can help on the right-hand side with creativity. It can create those new experiences. It can help us, though, be far more productive, and it can help us gain a lot more insight. And here are some examples of what those use cases might be. On the right-hand side are very simple things for you to think about that might make your business more efficient. A great example would be summarizing your meetings. One thing that I think would be really powerful is if you had a meeting with a bunch of people, you tried to make a lot of decisions, you went in lots of different directions, maybe over an hour, and you'd furiously writing on a whiteboard or typing away. A technology like generative AI could summarize that and give you all the important points and the actions you need for next steps. That might just save you time. It will certainly be more accurate. Those are the little tiny examples where it's just really been really powerful. Like customers are asking us for that. A good example, which I can highlight, will be in the banking space. Certainly, when a banker is talking to a business bank customer, they want to be able to capture what the customer is asking for, or after a meeting, just to make sure we don't compromise the customer security, they might verbalize their notes. And that goes into a summarization tool that then also connects straight into potentially a loan application engine or document processing tool of some sort. So there's ways to make these connections to make your life and your business far more efficient and productive. And there are use cases that we talk about and start with all the time with our customers. So if the bottom 3 items are your goals, which we hope are the goals for everyone, these are the kind of use cases that generative AI is really powerful for a business to improve the way they talk to customers and run their business. Conversational speech, anomaly detection is always a good one to find issues that are in your business. Predictive maintenance, we'll talk about that as well. On the left-hand side here, it's got personalization of the customer experience, how you automate identity verification and so on. So all these things that you think might be repetitive, potentially automated, software driven, they can somewhat be impacted by generative AI. So keep this list in mind of things that you might want to tackle. And when you look at the landscape of your business and its operations, where are the parts that you think generative AI might be able to help? And if you're in a particular industry, the same thing happens again. If you go on the left-hand side to healthcare, for example, generative AI can help with things like protein folding or designing new drugs, right? Or personalizing medicine to my specific health situation or my particular biochemistry, for example. It obviously helps with things like chip design in manufacturing and predictive maintenance on parts and systems. Jump to the right to retail, obviously can help with things like optimizing pricing, inventory. All these things across this menu are things that we've worked on with other customers. And so try and look at your business top to bottom and think, what are the use cases or areas where we're just still being fairly manual? We want to try and leapfrog forward to the best possible solution. Generative AI can certainly do that. And it's very accessible now for us to do this together and to experiment, to try new things and to see if we can start really small and solve a problem in a particular area first, and then see if it scales and expands over time. And even at Amazon ourselves, we use this kind of technology a lot. We're obviously experimenting as well. We've been running artificial intelligence across our retail business for a very long time, but only now are we using generative AI, for example, to help us with things like personalized Amazon video recommendations. So now all of a sudden we can say, well, if you like this, you might like that. And even Style Snap, where you can find out that dress and that tiny photograph there, where can I buy that from? You can now also upload an image of a product you want to sell online, for example, on the Amazon retail website, and it can then generate that image of that photograph in different situations. It can generate written content for you, video content, marketing content, automatically, rather than you having to go and do that yourself. So Amazon and ourselves, we're also learning and trying new things where we can. So a hugely impactful digital trend coming forward. You would have heard about it a lot, but it is a good time now to start to embrace what that looks like. And so I would start to recommend things like, make sure you go and learn the basics unless you know them already. There are many ways you can stay in touch with the developments of what's happening. I often weirdly find YouTube still the best place to learn about a lot of these things. Obviously AWS.com, online communities and so on. The weird term there of Ben's Bites is a newsletter by a guy called Ben Tossell. He sends out an email newsletter every day. It can be a bit technical, but it does point you to articles in things like Forbes and Bloomberg about recent developments. So I'd encourage you to try and have a look for that. Certainly find the most popular tools and play around with generative AI, and then list out the use cases in your business that you think will be good to tackle. But also find a technology partner. It could be anyone, right? Development partner, you've already got a software partner to help you scope and experiment. Find someone who has that expertise that can sit next to you and help you work that out on a whiteboard and flesh out what you think you should do. Okay, so that's the first section there. So the next one is this idea then, therefore, this concept of being very, very targeted with technology of what a customer we think will look like in the future. I don't know about you. I think the idea of all of us working in the same mode we worked in 20 years ago might change, right? This idea of being office bound, using enterprise apps all the time, and being really segmented into large chunky blocks might flip something like where we're actually working from home or anywhere more often. We're becoming a one-person business of our own of sorts. We might have a 4-day work week. There's businesses experimenting with that. I'm not sure if you have as well. And we might want a portfolio career, a collection of things we might do that's not just one mode of work. Maybe it's 2 or 3 or a variation to keep ourselves stimulated and thinking of different things. And we expect now things to be highly personalized because they're highly personalized elsewhere in consumer technology, for example, or in other fields. But almost on top of that, we might start to create what we call a digital twin of ourselves to start to be a conduit between what our preferences and needs are with technology and data. Now, it sounds a bit sort of spooky, but we certainly see people saying, I've got an avatar of myself here that can handle things like complex information, it can handle things like complex data, that advises me on the right decision, that tells me when my tax is due or what my tax bill will be, for example. I mean, the image on the left is the current hardware examples where we create a physical version of a digital version of a physical object to understand when it might break, what performance it's at, what efficiencies we can find. So this concept of a physical person having a digital twin will become a bit more popular. And strangely, Siri and Alexa and those kind of tools somewhat do it now, but in the old-fashioned AI way. So you'll find that will become more prevalent. And therefore, the expectation is I have this hyper-personalized physical and digital interaction, right? And the data is all there and the technology is there now to make your personalized connection with customers really powerful. So what's consumer technology drive us forward? Typically, it's been enterprise doing things like supply chain manufacturing, but Apple's just released the Vision Pros, Facebook and Google are doing the same. You'll find them driving that forward quite a bit. I won't say Amazon because we do that, but I won't speak on that instead of my colleagues. But we'll see where you might want to start. Maybe it's with assistance and customer support, it's automation, it's doing heavy lifting of complex information, but understand the risks and responsibilities there and data privacy and liability. Okay, last couple of quick sections here. So transform your business operations sustainably. So at Amazon, we've had to work out ways to find huge scale, right? We want to do things that really squeeze out the effort and the benefit we've built globally quite often. Often the ideas we have at Amazon have to work in every market. So making sure that we use this technology to really scale ourselves really well, it takes out a lot of the manual labor, and it releases time and energy for you to go and innovate and do R&D and other things, help your customers out around that. Certainly in these customers, we've had to do that a lot. These kinds of customers have asked us for ways to handle things at scale. For example, how do we get every one of millions of Domino's pizzas to a customer in time? How can we help Zillow process millions of images and tag them and sort them and improve their quality with AI as well? How can we help Volkswagen handle a supply chain of many hundreds of suppliers globally into one cohesive single operating system? And how can we help Qantas, for example, handle one plane taking the most optimum route for fuel and cabin crew and customer experience, but also across their fleet of hundreds of planes as well. So designing and thinking about scale and 10xing the output you might want to get from the same system is certainly what we see as something that customers are asking us for a lot, particularly post-COVID. I think post-COVID, everyone thought we now have this opportunity to digitize ourselves quite dramatically. It's a good time to do it now to make sure we can use this chance for a bit of a downturn or a bit of a squeeze to try and deploy technology that can save us a lot of time and a lot of money as well. So set an ambitious goal, make informed decisions, transform your business operations, and scale through supply chain tools. That they're very sort of heavy industry terms, but would apply for you guys as well. And then use that technology to predict and automate, right? The building on the left is the one that we've just moved into here in Melbourne. In knowledge worker roles, we should better help a finance broking customer, for example, make a great decision about a loan or a financial product. And it's built particularly for them, and it's proven to be something that will work for them over time with very accurate prediction, as much as we can do. And the right-hand side for me is the port. And so the port can also do the same. It can say, As we move to renewable energy, what will happen? As we move to ships that might be larger, what will happen? As we move from truck freight to train freight, how will that make us change? So this technology can handle the most minute ideas of, predicting when a part's going to fail, to understanding the transition of energy, for example. So technology can do all of those things, and really, the technology is not the barrier. The barrier here, or the opportunity, is for you to think as big as possible about the problems you want to solve, and then we add these Lego bricks of technology to solve them over time. And in sustainability, Amazon is really critical. These are just some snapshots of the goals we've had to try and tick off in year 2022. But it has to be a balanced scorecard now that's attached to everything you do. And before governments start to mandate us to do that, we might as well tackle them head on and make it a productive and almost profitable part of our business if we can. So sustainability will really be everywhere, embedded into our organization as much as we can. In Australia, I find it's still a bit of an optional extra, but it'll be a point soon where we'll have to make some pretty positive moves. So in this space, leverage technology to drive efficiency, allocate resources to work on R&D, try and make sure you turn that efficiency into shifting the extra resource you've got into innovation and getting closer to customers. With that technology, try and predict and automate where you can, but also embed that sustainability, because it will be mandated at some point, I think. And the last bit here, I won't go into much detail because obviously it's coming up, but this idea of data and security, and this is a diagram that I tend to draw a lot with every customer, is until you get your data right, the rest can't really work on top of that. And so often we're trying to help customers put things into a central data place so that it makes sense, they can talk to each other, it's highly accurate, it's always constantly real time. And then from that, the power of the customer experience you're producing is really very strong. So that's something we see a lot more this year and last year. Before that, it was like, oh, it's fine if things are a bit all over the place. But now it is a competitive advantage to have your data in a foundational data lake and all performing as one. So make sure it's central, make better decisions with that data, and then make sure security is obviously key around that. It sounds obvious to throw that in at the end, but it is becoming harder and harder to stay ahead of security challenges that we've all got globally. You've seen enough organizations here to have breaches and so on. No one's immune from that. So we'd make sure you stick to that if you can. So I'll leave you with this summary here. You're welcome to screenshot this, but these are the 4 areas I think are worth thinking about. We'd love to know if you're having that conversation in your organization, but make sure you don't get too bogged down in this technology, right? Don't think about it too much. Don't try and think that it's the definition of your business, or you have to necessarily be led by this. At the end of the day, it's your customers and their challenges you're trying to solve. And yes, I did make this picture with Midjourney, so it's not real. It's not me taking a walk out in the grass. It's technology as well. So with that, Dinesh, I'll say thank you, and would love any comments or questions, but otherwise happy to move on to the next part of the agenda.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Rob. That was unbelievably good. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, go to the Q&A, not the chat, and ask your questions for Rob, and he'll certainly answer every one of them. Now, we got what's going to happen. How are those videos? I mean, looking at those videos, they look so real. Now, Sora, which will, I believe that was from Sora, Rob, is that correct?
It was.
Sora was released last week by OpenAI. Gemini, which was called Bard before by Google, came about towards the end of last week. And all these technologies are truly changing the way businesses and people will operate in the future. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and go to more to stuff that I think each of us must focus today while we use these technologies to augment ourselves. We're still lagging behind in certain areas. That we work with hundreds of SME business owners. I know the struggle because you're trying to run your own business and then bring these automations on, make a business a lot more to build competitive advantages through innovation. So let's go and see what are the stuff that we must do today. I'm also going to share some stuff we shared last year at this very digital trends webinar, because they're so true even today. I know Rob touched on a lot of that as well when he went through his presentation. One of the things I really want to do is we've written a blog, and that blog can be found on our netStripes website. If you go to our website, you go to resources, under there, if you go into blogs, this blog is there. Go and read it. It covers just all the stuff we need to know, and it has practical examples that you can use today. It covers all the ChatGPT updates that happened through the year. We brought to you ChatGPT at this webinar last year when it was fresh off. It was a fresh innovation from OpenAI, and today Rob presented Sora, which again is as fresh as last week. So go and have a read of this blog. There are lots of practical examples, not just OpenAI and ChatGPT, but we're talking about Google Bard. Now, Google Bard changed to Gemini last week. Go and try. Go to Google and type in Google Gemini or Gemini AI and try it. It is fantastic. The first time Google approached me with that was when I was looking for news on Google last week or last Saturday. And it was Saturday morning. And I was surprised how it knew that on Saturday morning I had a bit more time to look at it. Because if it came on Friday, I was traveling on Friday, I would have no chance to try it out. So Google probably even knows my calendar. It knows how we operate, again, through AI, and told me to check Gemini out on Saturday. I did. I was super impressed. Again, it can make our life a lot easier. It will augment what we do. It's about leveraging the technology, as Rob mentioned, allocating resources, allocating our time to do that, and then using that predictive knowledge that we get to really build upon our business. That's what Rob said in one of his last slides. Again, so there you go. Check Bard out. It's called Gemini now. By the way, cybersecurity is coming to the forefront. If AI is going to be strong, cybersecurity is going to be a bigger issue. So we cannot rest on our laurels. Make sure, and again, there are practical stuff that you can do here. Read it. Voice search is getting more prevalent. How can your business be found when people are searching for goods and services online? How can you use voice search? Go and read this. Try to understand what it says. And then voice typing. This is a simple example. If you're using a Google document, you can, let me show you what I'm without talking here. All right, so you go, this is a Google document, you go to tools and go voice typing. Okay, click on that. And this is about voice typing. It's as easy as speaking to your computer, and the computer gets everything right. If you noticed, it types it just the way I have been speaking. So we don't have to type anymore. All we do is we keep speaking, and Google Documents will keep typing. All right, so let's stop that. So this blog gives you lots of practical stuff that you can use today for your business. It also talks about social media trends, etc. I'm going to go through some of that research now. Go and read that blog so that you will really get as much information as possible. So we've written that blog so that you can get the detail. And of course, you will get a recording of this video as well. AI goes mainstream. right? So again, this is what we spoke last year as ChatGPT was announced. We also said, based on the research, organic engagement on all the Meta platforms, so business pages are nearly dead. If you want to get engagement, you need to advertise, okay? Facebook is near zero engagement for business pages. Instagram is less than 1%. So, and it's very clear businesses need to advertise. Google, with their SEO, is doing similarly. If you go and search for anything, the first four, up to four, between 2 and 4, when you do a search, the first 4 that you get will be ads. This is a search I did on Locksmith Sydney, and that's what I got. I also did Locksmith mortgage brokers in Sydney, and then I got 2 for that at one time, and another time I got 4. So keep searching and you'll find this. What are they trying to do? It wants us to advertise. But Google ads are expensive. Facebook ads are not as expensive, but if you don't know how to use them, they will eat up all our money. So because these algorithms are increasingly difficult to use, so we have to be careful. With SEO, voice search is getting very prevalent. People are going to their phones and saying, drive me here, tell me where I can find this. Google is using Google. People use Google Lens to find products and services as well now through image search. So this stuff we have to be very, very good at. And on the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see what we have to do from practical perspective to get this voice search right. There are SEO fundamentals we all must use. So it starts with getting your keyword strategy right. If you don't know this stuff, talk to one of our advisors who will guide you through. How do you optimize your SEO page? How do you write content in a conversational tone so that users can find it on voice search? How do you do FAQs so that you anticipate the questions that people are asking? So talk to somebody at netStripes who can guide you through that. And it's the same with cybersecurity. Risk management is so fundamentally important for any one of our businesses. So take this stuff seriously. Your websites, your software must be backed up weekly, multiple copies at any given time. Make sure, like your phone is updated, the software updates frequently, your desktop software updates. Do simple stuff like make sure your websites are updated regularly. Make sure if you can't do it, somebody else does it for you. But it is your job as the CEO of the business, the owner of the business, to make sure you comply with this stuff, because it'll hurt your reputation when, if and when your websites get hacked. And this is not a question of if it'll get hacked. There are so many businesses getting hacked, so it's a question of when. So don't take risks. When we went through a lot of the messaging around the trends, we saw Google ads. Google is going towards ads from search results, voice search. We spoke about organic traffic from Meta advertising, or organic engagement being dead. Now, because they're a business, they want us to advertise with them. That's understandable. But all of this is about driving traffic to our websites. So that was a common theme that we saw. And one of the biggest issues that we see from the data we've researched so many businesses, and lots of small businesses are not having traffic on your websites. So go and check your Google Analytics. This is a free tool by Google. Go and check your analytics and see over a 6-month period how much traffic you're getting. Here's a website. I haven't given the name. I hidden the name because to maintain their privacy, not to embarrass them. But it's less than 1 visitor per day. Here's another website. This is just 2 visitors a day. That's not good enough, ladies and gentlemen. That has one visitor a day. So we've researched hundreds of websites for SMEs. This is not good enough. So we're talking about AI. I mean, Rob was speaking about AI. We need to get the fundamentals of digital right and get this stuff right before it hits us. Here's a SME business who started with us as a one person. When they started, they had the same problem. One or two people, less than one actually, person in a 90-day period. From a traffic perspective today, there are 30 plus a day. This is in the last, by the way, this is the last 30 days. And there's 35 plus traffic of 35 plus a day. But more importantly, the conversions, as you can see, is significant. So that's the traffic, the users that have come in, that's the conversion. So that this all goes back to, you can have massive new trends coming through. We mustn't forget our fundamentals. There are universal principles that do not change. There are two universal principles in digital marketing. Drive the right traffic to your website, not any traffic. Who is your ideal customer? We need to know that. If you don't know that, it's important to get your strategy right. Understand who is your ideal customer, who are the guys who will pay you the big bucks, who will not waste your time, who will not suck up all your time. So you need to know who your ideal customers are, who are not your ideal customers, and drive that traffic to your website, not any traffic to our websites. And then once that traffic comes in, you need to be able to convert that traffic into leads and into sales. And that's what you saw with that Google Analytics that I shared. There's massive traffic, not massive. It's actually not massive. It's a fairly small number of traffic, but that's the traffic they need to get the type of conversions that we saw. So remember these two principles. Principle one is to drive the right traffic to your website, and then to convert that traffic into leads and into sales. No point having the right traffic, it's one or two. You need to have the right quantity of that as well. And no point driving traffic to your website if your website looks crap or looks like every other website in your industry. And that's the biggest issue. Based on the research that netStripes have done over the last 4 years, researching thousands of businesses, 89% of the businesses are not achieving results from any of their digital marketing. They're not riding the digital wave. 89% of the websites are not working because they're not built with to a framework that delivers results. Okay, if you look at this website, it's very clear, who they're serving. And it's not for anyone because they've got their strategy right. And why is it important to get their strategy right? This was a new business as they started in 2020. They came to us in 2021, just about as they were getting some experience in the industry. They've a lady called Becky Baker, and she loved finance, and she came and said, I want to get my strategy right, my branding right, my website right, so that I can succeed. Within a year, she was featured by the FBAA magazine for the growth she had. She was hiring other brokers while other new brokers were falling by the wayside. So, and then last year in November, by the way, she's featured in the FBAA February magazine. In November last year, she won the National Broker of the Year award. She's been in business for probably less than 3 years. And how do you do that? This is about getting your strategy right, your branding right, your messaging right, your website right, and then, of course, doing your marketing. It's not hard, it's not expensive, but you need to get this stuff right. Here's a builder. Very clear messaging, very clear branding. These businesses look world-class. Here's a locksmith business, right? Again, they've got their strategy right. This is a 50-year-old business who wanted to get their strategy, branding, and their websites right. So we don't just do websites. netStripes really get this business model right, the strategy right, so that your business can truly succeed. So get this stuff right, guys. By the way, Becky Baker, we interviewed her about a year ago. This is only a 15-minute video. Go and watch this to see how she's got this digital stuff right. That helped her. This was done before she became the broker of the year. But go and listen to this video. You will see why she won the broker of the year. Okay, and so getting your strategy right is fundamentally important. Talk to one of our advisors. If you would like a one-on-one session with, if you are from any of these organizations, any of these industry associations, you can have a one-on-one session with any of our advisors. I personally do some one-on-one sessions as well. So Jen will share the link on the chat now. Go and sign up to a time slot that is available. I think there's a bit of a wait time, so get in there and book yourself so that you can get there faster. All right. I also want to share some data, the latest data. Got to be conscious of time, so I'm going to go fairly fast. And this is the latest research when it came to 2024. So what are the main channels that people use for online brand research? When they're online, when they're buying a product or a service, based on the age groups, you can see here what channels they're using, okay? A lot of you I think from my experience of the industry associations we work with and the businesses we work with, most of you focus in this type of market. And you can see based on each of the age groups, social networks, search engines, these are the common themes you see. And then you see consumer reviews, okay? So these are the things people look for when they're buying products or services. Now let's go one step deeper. What's the journey people take when they're buying products and services? Okay, now here's the journey they take. Now, each of these segments, apart from TV ads, you can do, of course, but they're a lot more expensive to do and probably the domain of bigger businesses. But as a small to medium businesses, right, you can take advantage of being found on Google, getting your search engine stuff right. We spoke about voice search today. It's on that blog as well. We can get our social media advertising right. If you do it right, it can be fairly inexpensive. If you do it wrong, you lose a ton of money. So again, talk to one of our advisors on how you can do it right. Word of mouth marketing is so important, but word of mouth is about being top of mind. How are your customers going to recommend you if you're not top of mind to them? Again, use digital to be top of mind so that you can amplify your word of mouth marketing. All right. Brand websites. We just spoke about that. Get your websites right, okay? Your website is fundamental. It's the foundation of your digital presence, right? It is your business. It is your office that is online. You got to nail it, okay? If you, Rob showed us Amazon office in Melbourne. How beautiful was that? Now, a lot of the time, online, you got to get your online stuff right because people don't come to visit our offices. They'll be visiting our website. So get that stuff right. So don't just go and build a website. Get that strategy part right, the messaging right before you go and build a website. Your website has to look world-class, right? It has to be better than your competition if you want results. Social media commentary. You can do that. You can go and comment on social media, ads on websites, retail websites, consumer review sites. You can be up on consumer review sites. Go and see what are the consumer review sites in your industry are. So I'm not going to spend too much time. I'm sure you've read this stuff already. Okay. How does the people go do this when they start buying? They first visit a branded website. So they come to your website. They watched a video made by your brand. So hopefully you've got a couple of videos going. If you don't have a way of doing a video, don't stress. You can create your own videos. There is a format to create videos. Talk to one of our advisors. Go and do one of the training programs we have we've done this on multiple webinars. There are ways of doing videos that are less than 6 seconds, less than 1 minute, and you need to get that format right. People don't watch very long videos, as we know. So here again is the journey people take when they're buying. So I'm not going to go through it one by one, but this video will be shared. Go through that and try to learn it. People use search engines to find brands. That we know. This is proof. People use social media to find brands. We know that. Here it is. We know that if you're a business page, Facebook or Meta or Instagram is not, or LinkedIn for that matter, don't give us much engagement, okay? So we need to be able to use advertising efficiently, intelligently, without spending a heap of money. Brand discovery through your website, we just discussed that as well. So one thing we need to know is organic social media is still dead in 2023, in 2024, and it was dead in 2023, was dead in 2022 as well. Okay, but that's for business pages. If you're individual pages, it's a different story. Okay, that's why those influencers on Instagram, etc., do well, because they are individual pages. It's different for business pages. What I'm going to show you here is if you had 10,000 page likes, the engagement will be 6. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you had photos, videos, links, whatever it is the same. For Instagram, by the way, this was last year, so it has got worse this year, not much worse, but Instagram is still less than 1%. It's better, but still less than 1%. It's the same for photos, reels, or carousels. People say, put videos, you get better results. Put carousels, you get better results. It's the same, right? Okay, for business pages on Meta platforms, I think it's on the same on LinkedIn as well. Social media is dead. But advertising, if done well, can be powerful. Why? You think social media probably peaked during the pandemic in 2020 period? It did. It went up, but it's still going up. I would have thought it would come down like that. So social media consumption is increasing. And where is the biggest, where are the most amount of users? Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, between them, right? They have over 6 billion, right? That's 3. I've got my counts right, wrong. 3. 2. These are all owned by Meta. That's 7, and that's nearly 8. That should be 8 billion. Can't even count, right? So they dominate. Meta dominates the social media world, but they are not the only channel. LinkedIn is good for business. We know they have about 1 billion. Where is LinkedIn? Where is LinkedIn? It's not there. They have about 1 billion. I'll cover that later. And Twitter is growing. They had about 300 million, but the Elon effect is such that it's growing. It'll grow faster. So the other thing is, which channel sends the most amount of social media to your websites? Facebook does. Is Facebook used in Australia for advertising to reach adults? It's very in Australia. It's nearly 80%, 79.6, while the world average is around 40, less than 40, right? So the reach of the audience is huge in Australia. So again, this covers why people use social media. Again, to buy products, to read news, to fill up time. We know that people are lying on their couches, going through social media. But mainly, as you can see, they want to interact with friends and family. That's the main reason they go there. But after that, they spend a lot more time for other things. We can't help them with friends and family, but you can use every one of these things to engage people. So this is practical stuff you can use for everyday business, okay? Social media, is it used for brand research? The answer is yes, 58%. Which platforms are used for brand research? Mainly Instagram and Facebook. TikTok as well, by the way. TikTok audience is the younger audience. So you've got to be sure your audience is on TikTok if you're spending time. As I said, LinkedIn has about 1 billion. But even LinkedIn, you would have thought the biggest audience is in this category, but it is in the younger category because they are growing their careers. That's where they are spending most of their time. TikTok audience, as I mentioned, is very young, very young. Ladies and gentlemen, again, it's not about the statistics. It's not about the research. It's not about the trends. As Rob said, how do you leverage the technology? How do you allocate resources, financial and human resource, time, your time, the time of your people? But how do you do it in a way it augments? This technology can augment what we do powerfully so that we can get predictive results that are more predictive. By the way, don't leave this session without booking in for a meeting to discuss what you can do, because learning is good, but practically applying this is where we really win. So book in a session, talk to one of our advisors, and see how you can really use this stuff, because everyone tells me quality leads are priceless, and people also tell me getting leads have been difficult, but getting quality leads are difficult, too risky to depend on referrals alone. Absolutely, you can't build a business on word of mouth referrals. You have to get out of that paradigm because you can never scale a business on just word of mouth. You saw all the technologies you can use to build your business. By the way, go to our website. Like I said, there are lots of resources there that are free, but we have lots of services that fall into social media marketing, getting your websites right, getting your strategy right, etc. And it's about how do you nail your marketing and execute your strategy with professional guidance. And that I think is something you'll get from our team. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop sharing. If you have any questions, please, Rob and I are here to answer any questions. Michelle Jenkins has asked, are you saying Soro or Sora? That's a good question. I can share my screen and take you to Sora. Let me see whether I can do that. Very quick. Need to share my screen though. Still. Am I sharing my screen or not? I'm not sharing my screen. So letting me share it for some reason. Why? Let me do it now. All right, there you go. OpenAI, Sora, creating videos from text. It's as simple as this prompt, as Rob said, is a text prompt. A stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon and animated city images. She wears black leather jacket, a long dress, and black boots. How cool was that? How cool was that? That was exactly what Rob said. Rob, thank you so much. Great having you join us. Have you got any last wise words before we close up?
Oh no, I think just embrace the technology. Go and learn more, dive into it, try it out, and as small as you think your business, your application might be, just give it a shot. And I love your comments about making your website as attractive and as powerful as possible. I agree. That's still what us as customers need to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. Rob, I know how busy you are. Thank you so much for allocating your time to do that presentation. Come and join us. I know we spoke last year when I asked you. You said certainly I'll join you, and on behalf of the entire NetStripe community, a big thank you.
Thank you. No, you're very welcome, and always happy to help.
Thank you. Would love to have you back.
Sure. See you then.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't go until you give us your feedback on the chat. Did you like what you heard today? Is there anything else that you would want from us? I'm going to hang around here. If you need anything, if you still have any questions, you can ask. Rob, I'll let you go. Thank you so much again. All the very best. My video is off, but I'm here in case you have any questions. Happy to answer. Please don't go without telling us, giving us your feedback. Thank you, everyone, for your feedback. Thanks, Onda. Thanks, Hala. Thank you, Julianne. Really appreciate your commentary. Anyone else who's there, please let us know how you found it. If you want anything else, you need more information on anything, let us know. Because with these webinars, it is for you, and we'd love to assist in any way possible. This, by the way, if all feedback is good feedback, if you have any areas of improvement, really happy to look into that as well. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Basma. Thanks for your feedback. Much appreciated.